All right, so we'll switch to English. This panel is entirely in English because we've got guests from all over the world, well, at least from all over Europe. And this is the continuation of panels that happened 2 years and last year. And it's called New Strategies in Music Marketing. So we continue this discussion that we had last year, and we're going to see what changed in the year. I think last year a lot of things changed. So in the music industry, basically blockchain completely failed with everything that they had. So Web 3.0, very scary. Mark Zuckerberg is pulling money out of the metaverse. Focusing elsewhere, but there's loads and loads of opportunities out there to still market your band or your act or whatever else you want to market. So we're going to continue there, but before we start, we just want to have a quick introduction that we know who you are and what you do and who you represent, and I'll let you do the talking there. Usually the host reads all of that out, but it's usually incorrect, incomplete, and not what you actually want to hear. So I give you a little bit more time. It takes longer if the host doesn't say that, but we really want to hear from you, what you're doing here and what you can bring to the table. So Sebastian kann heute nicht hier sein, aus bekannten Gründen, der CEO für Ticketmaster. Und ich gehe in der Reihenfolge meiner Liste, wie ich die aufgeschrieben habe. Jo Halbig ist noch nicht hier, der kommt hoffentlich noch. Und dann geht es weiter mit Matthew Waters, CEO of Unchained Music. Matt, you're right on the left.
Hi everyone, as I've been introduced, my name is Matt Waters. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO of Unchained Music. I've been a musician my entire life, and about 2.5 years ago we started Unchained Music to do free distribution, kind of undercut some of the people that are currently in the industry, and so I'm coming from the independent musician background, making my own music and trying to do something a little bit better for everyone in the industry, and trying to get to a point where musicians are actually have the power rather than a lot of these companies that are controlling data. So looking forward to talking a little bit more about that in the future, but for now, I'll let that go.
And you have to talk a little bit slower. You're in Germany here. We do have English at school, but not on television, even though Netflix and stuff like that now improves that. But if you could talk a little bit slower, that would be excellent. Basti, you could introduce yourself in German, but you should do that for the sake of our other guests in English as well. Basti.
I try my best. Well, I'm the founder of Innsite Booking, which is mainly a booking agency in Germany, and we're based in Munich. And in particular, I'm managing a band called Bianco and the Abbrunzati Boys, which is mostly famous in the German-speaking area. Which is maybe a kind of interesting project in the matters of marketing, and yes, it became by now very successful, and we try our best to keep that up.
Innsite mit 2N, wieder in. And then to my right, and this is just because I wrote it down that way, it's Anca Lupes. You flew in this morning from Romania.
I did.
And so why are you here? Apart from being on this panel, of course.
Let me say a few words about me. I'm currently the founder and of the Mastering the Music Business Conference in Bucharest, Romania, which started in 2016. But I go way back in the music industry. I started as a journalist, and I was working for a promoting company which was run by a guy you should know because he was German, Marcel Avram. He was one of the biggest booking agents in the world, exclusive booking agent for Michael Jackson and artists like that. And then I was working for 7 years in a record company as a marketing manager. And the company was a licensee for BMG, which was also a German company, a German major. And so That's me in a very few words. Apart from being the founder of this company, of this conference, I'm also the executive director of IndieRO, which is the Romanian Association of Indie Labels.
Excellent. Thanks for taking the trip over here. Hope you enjoy Nürnberg.Pop.
Yes, thank you.
And this panel.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tomorrow here in this space at the same time at 4 p.m. there's going to be a panel that is called 10 Jobs at the Same Time. For all of you that have bands or are musicians out there, you feel the same way. 80% of what you do is being a freelance content creator that is unpaid for Instagram and TikTok. And then 20% of your time is music. When it used to be that you could fully concentrate on music and didn't have to deal with any of that. So yeah, that's the environment we're in, and everybody knows that all you need to do is have a really cool TikTok and you're done with marketing, right? Let's end this panel. Thank you very much for coming. Well, Matt, when I told you on Wednesday, when we met, you said, oh, no. So, why is that?
Okay, I guess I'll jump in here since I was put on the spot a little bit. TikTok is obviously a major player in the music industry right now. They're going to continue growing, especially with the advent of TikTok Music. Their distribution services come out as well. But the problem with TikTok at the moment is they do not have a way to identify content that is user-produced. So you put something up there, you create a hook, for example, it goes viral with your followers, you don't get paid for any of the streams, right? And so we have an issue here where, yes, streaming payouts are not great, but on TikTok, they're particularly bad. So I see the future not necessarily being in TikTok unless they can figure that out. We have audio fingerprinting technology that's great, but it's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect. There's so many things you can do to audio to manipulate it, so that it doesn't actually get picked up. So where I see the next generation of artists being picked up is being registered on TikTok, right? Potentially going viral on TikTok. But when you're actually marketing and trying to monetize your fan base, you need to own that data, right? So how do you get that data from your fans? How can you connect directly with them? And that's where I believe old school things like email, right? New school things like some of the blockchain technologies do give you an opportunity to give that direct connection. So how you do that is not going to be through TikTok, because the entire social media playbook is going to be putting distance between you and your fans so they can monetize, not you.
Basti, when Bianco started, when did you pick them up and how did you pick them up?
Well, we started working together at the beginning of 2019, and it was like the size of clubs, around 200 people they filled, and yeah, we began to work without really knowing where this journey is going to go, and not at this point really understanding in depth what they want to tell us. But we worked on that, we worked together, we talked to each other, and I did understand their mission day to day a lot better. So we tried to find a concept, a marketing concept around what they want to tell. And this is why I want to ask you on your interpretation of TikTok. I mean, this is a rights issue, what you told us. But what is marketing about? I mean, in the moment, as everybody can see, TikTok is creating hits. And whatever TikTok is doing, if it's good for rights issues or not, it's creating hits. And it's creating momentum, and it's creating a career for someone. So I would say by now, in the marketing mix, TikTok is absolutely right there for musicians to place their music. It's maybe a kind of a different thing you would usually do as a musician or an artist, because it's more, it's a creative platform. So it's not that about music. They use music for creators, that the creators can do something and get on track and reach the people. And you as a musician, you take advantage of this. So, but in the end, it works. And as long as something works and it works for you, it usually should be good.
Well, does it though? Anca, have you ever picked up an artist from TikTok, or have you ever said to an artist, hey, you need to go to TikTok, otherwise we won't work with you?
No. But you know, I was thinking now, listening to you, that it's funny how history is repeating, because at the beginning it was MySpace, and then it was Facebook, and now it's TikTok. So each time with its platform. So, but the thing is that, as Matt was saying, it's very important to own your data and try to get it from everywhere possible. Because, as I said at the beginning, it was MySpace, but then MySpace disappeared along with all the database, along with all the music and everything that was uploaded there. Sometimes things like this happen in Facebook. Accounts get erased or hacked or whatever, so the data goes away. So this is why I think any artist or any marketer should try and gather the data from all the platforms they're working with, and put it somewhere where the space belongs only to the artist. Like, for example, the old school website, and use the old school emails in a form of a newsletter. Get as many email addresses from the fans as possible and use them in a newsletter. I was talking once with a manager in Romania. He was working with a very popular band, and they had a newsletter with 15,000 subscribers. And he said, I'm thinking, if each one of these people would give us €1, that would be 15,000 euros per year. So try to get all this data, own it, and try to monetize it.
Herzlich willkommen, Halbig. Wir haben angefangen mit einer kurzen Vorstellungsrunde. Wir machen auf Englisch natürlich auch weiter. Das heißt, du müsstest dich den anderen dreien jetzt kurz auch nochmal vorstellen, wer du bist und was du machst. Und ja, und dann erzähle ich dir, worüber wir uns gerade unterhalten. Dann kannst du deinen Beitrag leisten.
Alles klar. Entschuldigung für die Verspätung. Stau aus München. Halbig mein Name. Ich bin selber Musiker, habe eine Musikmarketing- und Promotion-Firma, Superlifepromo, mit einem Partner zusammen ein Label, wo zum Beispiel Kafkiez, Paula Carolina, Damona sind. Wir managen die Acts auch. Und ich glaube, das reicht.
Und wir haben gerade gesagt, also als Musiker, Musikerin braucht man eigentlich kein... Oh, we have to start in English. So the others didn't understand. So Superlifepromo, I think you used to be quite famous with your band. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. I took a selfie with you because of that. But I don't know how much that means. And into artist booking. The question we started on was, well, do we need a still marketing agency because there's TikTok and that's all that a band needs. 80% of your time into social media and you're well covered. You can do that on your own. Now, we already said TikTok doesn't provide any data to you. It doesn't provide any money to you as a band. So there's no monetization there. And I think, Matt, we discussed this on Wednesday as well. TikTok is perceived as a kind of a Hail Mary pass where you say, okay, I'll throw everything on TikTok and maybe I get lucky. Like you could also play the lottery and most likely make more money off of that. So what's your position on TikTok and where can marketing put something that is pure chance into something that is destined to make you a winner?
I hope I can add some stuff to the things you guys said. Of course, TikTok is the thing since 2 or 3 years at least. But I always think it's a mixture between different things. Of course, you need to have TikTok as an artist to rise a song, but I say TikTok can rise a career of an artist, because of course you can put some snippets on there, and in between 15 seconds you get a lot of maybe a lot of listeners and streams and stuff, but it also disappears very fast again. So I think we need to combine different aspects, and as Basti does with his band as well. Of course, there's a live section, which is very important to build up artists in the live section. I mean, for us, it's profoundly the most important thing in these times, besides of all the social media stuff. And I think to get a good live act on tour, you need to have different channels for marketing. So it could be radio still in some terms. It could be TV. When we have an act on the biggest German TV show, of course, you see the Shazams rising up after that. So I think it's not only TikTok, but if you think out of an artist's perspective, it is the easiest way to gain a lot of traffic in short time.
So let's continue again with Basti. So you at some point you said Roy was at about 200 venues, 200 people venues. You picked them up. Did they contact you or did you contact them?
Kind of. Yeah, we got.
Because it's important to the people out here. They want to.
In this case, we were brought together by a festival booker, and we got known each other. And it was the first half year was very intense. A lot of judging and a lot of not knowing if it's the right decision for both of us. But we were able to handle that. And in terms of marketing, I would continue what you said. Without judging the platforms we have, which give us different opportunities, is to ask yourself the right questions at the beginning. Like, what do you want to have? Do you want to have reach? Do you want career for the next 5 years, or do you want a career for the next 40 years? And it's a total different approach on that. And on the second side, you have to look which kind of music you are doing, or which kind of people you are addressing, and where you can find those people, and how you can turn those people into fans. Not only into listeners, into fans. Someone who believes in you, who follows you wherever you go. And this is much more deep than just having a hit on TikTok. For example, with Bianco, we are not working on TikTok as the most people does. Like, we are not placing music there and hope that something hits up. We are just addressing our fans and maybe someone else who is on TikTok with kind of a characterization of the artist. Like, they are more a bit comedian, so they try to use this platform for something you can laugh about, and not mainly about music. Music comes in this example second. But this is something you need to decide for yourself. Like, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go? Where are the people you want to have on your side? And this band, for example, is very known for their live shows. So they are most known for live music, so they have the biggest opportunities in live music. Especially when you compare listeners on Spotify and what they sell on tour, is something some people don't believe, because it's not the typical ratio.
So how do you go from putting all this social media content out there to converting them to coming to a live show, to buying merch, to doing all that?
Mainly channelizing. Like you go out there, you become attractive with your content, whatever it is. Is it video? Is it audio? And you try to tell the people where they can find everything they want to know about you. And there we are on this old school website, what is a shop for us. Like we have just a white label shop where you can buy tickets, where you can combine tickets and merchandising, which is very, very important, especially if you're a live band. No offense to Ticketmaster, but if you just sell tickets on Ticketmaster, you lose those data to Ticketmaster. And of course, they take it for their own manners. So by now...
He could have answered, but he was thrown out of the company, so, or chose to leave, right?
Share the data with the promoter.
We can talk about
but
that.
not that deep. Not that deep as we need to have it and how we use it. In the meantime, we are now using newsletters as well, and the good old email newsletter is something that is crazy still working, like enormously, and especially if you take your time and try to find out what the people know about your band, what you're telling them in the newsletters. There are different ways. Like you can go there and say, okay, we do it monthly, and whatever there is, we send out. Or you can go the way and say we are sending newsletters when there's something to tell, and that's what we are doing, because it's today all about storytelling. So you have to tell something. You need to be interesting if someone wants to read it. And in this case, when you try to go into quality and take your time and say, okay, it's a big thing. It's not something like newsletter as you get hundreds every day. Like it's not that one. It's not only this kind of marketing, but you go deeper. And when you go deeper and you create something that is worth it, it creates traction. Like the people, we are now a bit more than 35,000 users of this newsletter because it works. And if tomorrow Instagram wouldn't work anymore, or someone hacks the account, we don't care because we can reach our people. And I guess this is the most important message behind this. And this is part of a marketing mix, and this is all an answer on the right questions you ask yourself at the beginning. It's not that it works for everybody, of course not. But in this case, it works.
So Matt, you take the data, control of the data, and then you devise strategies out of that. We've heard the newsletter, we've heard the webpage, we've heard the shop. It's really interesting to see that the new trends in marketing actually go back to the past, when things worked, right? Before, everyone was becoming over enthusiastic about the new social media, and we see that in politics as well, right? I mean, I think politicians these days, and I think a lot of us would be really, really happy if that dang social media went away, where there's a bunch of idiots are really destroying the really positive atmosphere that is being created. I myself canceled Facebook because of that. Instagram is a little bit dearer to me with that, because I can just look at the posts of the people I follow, and if I then ignore the comments, then I'm pretty well off. I wonder when they will take that away. But once you've got control, what other new trends are there with the data that you have? Do you have examples of which data you take and where you take your bands?
You know, going back to what you were talking about, it depends on the band, right? It depends on where your fans are. It depends on what story you're trying to tell, right? And so for some people, that might be telling a story, like what you do very well. But for some other people, you might be drawing towards more of a, more live shows, you're touring more. Some people it's more merch. And it's just determines on how you can monetize your fan base, right? When you have that data, once you get that data, does it go to tickets? Does it go to merch? Does it go to anything that's happening in Web3? I'm sure many people have opinions on, right? It really just depends. But when it comes down to it, as long as you have that data, you have the option to do all of those things. If you don't collect that data, right, you just rely on social media networks and you don't use that as the top of the funnel, right? You should be using social media as the top of the funnel to collect that data. And then once you collect that data, you can do anything with that, right? So there's nothing new. I think I will be able to share on that. It's the same thing. It's using the social media platforms. It's using where your fan base is, taking the data and going from there.
So, do the data indicate that you should spend more money on the shop, or that you should go to other locations, maybe, or what is the data showing you?
From what we've seen with the artists that we work with on our artist and label services side, a lot of the artists, especially younger artists that are coming through, they neglect shops, they neglect merch, especially initially. That's something you can get set up. You can get drop shipping set up where everything runs automatically and you don't have to touch it, right? You put your products out there, you drive your fans to it through an email list, a newsletter or whatever, through your social media, and then that just rolls in. Then you can do the next thing on top of that, automate that, next thing on top of that, automate that, right? And so you're building this sort of marketing empire around the data, and you just need to tackle one thing at a time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really good, and that's, I think, where the value lies, right? In a marketing space and in a company that does marketing. Anca, so last year we said that for every euro that you spend on creating new music, you should spend 3 euros on marketing.
Definitely, because these days there are 100,000 songs uploaded only on Spotify alone.
More than that.
Or more than that. So it's so online. It's so crowded right now. Yeah, and it's not enough to put the music out there and then just wait to become famous, because it will not happen unless there's gonna be a miracle or something. But I'm coming back on what you were saying about live music. That's a place, the stage is a place that it's not that crowded. So on stage each artist can shine properly. Because otherwise putting one song somewhere online on a platform or on several platforms is like dropping a drop of oil in the ocean. You're not gonna see it unless you find the proper angle to put the light on it and make it shine. And that's marketing. So I think more than 3 euros should be spent on marketing. Because it's
inflation, right?
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's really interesting you talk about that 100,000 number, right? In the 60s and the 70s, we were putting out a few hundred albums a year that made it big, right? Now, we're at 120,000, 140,000 a day, right? And then the next step, right, with all the creator tools with AI that's coming forward, that content is going to continue to be pushed out, and it's going to accelerate. It's going to be a lot quicker to go from 100,000 to 1 million than it was to go from 100 to 100,000. And so you need to find a way to sit down and differentiate yourself and what story you're telling with your band, with your artist, right? To be able to be a live presence. I think live music is going to be what differentiates telling that story in person, what differentiates the people who make it. Because there's going to be a search for authenticity that is not present with a lot of these creator tools that are currently coming out.
Do those live stages exist, Joe?
Another question. I just want to add some more to the production and marketing side. I think it comes to say we need at least 3 euros per 1 euro production. I think we should answer it from an artist's perspective, because I see so many artists producing a lot of music for a lot of money, too much money sometimes, which is not like I want to criticize any producers. Of course they should get their money, but if I speak with some bands who produce an album for like 10 or 15,000 euro and then say, okay, cool, we have a great sounding album, but we have no marketing budget left, that's pretty not good. So I think we should always answer this from, for artists, if you produce your music, of course you should like think of the next step. And also in releasing, it's not just one single and then hoping and having a good social media strategy. I always, when we talk to our bands and our acts, we always say, what is your next year plan? So are you releasing 4 singles, 5 singles, 6 singles? What are you doing in terms of that? Are you going on tour? And one thing adding to you and young people not want to have like newsletters or websites. Yeah, that's really hard to convince them. What is a newsletter? We have a 17-year-old singer. She has 1.9 million users on TikTok, where we thought, cool, I think that's going to work. But we talked about it 1 year ago. It's working very good, but we started to set up a newsletter, and she said, what is a newsletter? What should I tell my fans? And we said, yeah, it's an email address. So I think we need to, keep saying those things, especially to younger artists, where the fast success is so shiny.
Yeah. Some people say that the newsletter is the new fan club. And yeah, you have to treat it like it. I mean, you can do so many things with a newsletter, not only sending news to the fans. Yeah. You can make them part of your career, of your creation, of your, I don't know, selling everything there, giving them the opportunity to be the first to get something, I don't know, tickets or a certain kind of merch, whatever. I mean, it has so many things that you can do with it. I cannot stress enough how good it's a newsletter.
I mean, there's other data as well that you can collect that gives you some of that connection, right? Phone numbers, for one. Send text messages, right? Collect that alongside the email saying, hey, I'm playing a show in your city. Come see me, right? I talked to a few musicians that WhatsApp groups, right? Great. Have Telegram groups, great. But then we get back onto the reliance of social platforms, right? But the best thing you can do is just get that direct connection, once again.
Just to add one more thing, maybe we have a good translation to the live stages. We have one act where we did something like tour hacking, which means she got in front of the bands she liked, for especially Blink-182 or Avril Lavigne. She got to the concerts, played in front of the concert halls, their acoustic set from songs. She handed out their CDs, which she would have never sold because nobody buys CDs anymore. And so she put in there her phone number, newsletter, and we saw extremely success, people signing up because they connected immediately with her in front of the live show. Of course you can't do this every day, and of course you can't do this all the time, but I think some of these points can be really effectful.
Which is an example that you don't even need any money to make good marketing. So I'm not really going to conform with this ratio of marketing money and production money, because you can blow the money in the wind. And I mean, if you today, for example, would take your release ads and promote it on Facebook to get traction, take your money and go away. Like you can burn it otherwise.
Maybe you can invest the marketing money in smart marketing people.
For example, or on the other hand, you make your own. You make your own decisions on that. I mean, the best marketers out there can't help you if you can't tell them what they need to know about your fans, what they need to know about your journey throughout your career. So you need. it's the thing. I mean, we can make gold out of silver, but not out of shit. Like that's the main thing. And yeah, but so in the beginning,
you have the perfect band for that. There are many bands that are not focused as yours.
Yeah, but you can.
I'm not jealous, but I love them.
But it's a learning. It's a learning. I mean, of course, it's maybe a 1 in a million thing that there are people who understand marketing and business as good as they understand their music and how to attract their fans. But in the end, it's a learning and it's a managing thing. Like you have to tell them how to think. Like you learn them how they should think on the management side. It's not about to tell them what to do. It's more about to tell them how to think about things or issues in your career. So. Like, I mean, we talked about newsletter. Newsletter is something that's great, but for which step? You need to, I guess in the beginning, you need to think about what could be your funnel. Like your typical marketing funnel, something absolutely technical, but it's working. Like out there you have maybe on top level someone. Let's start with it's discussable, but I would say there in the first thing there are listeners, someone who gets in contact with your music on Spotify, algorithmic playlists, whatever. On the next hand, you have followers, like someone who follows your social medias. The next step, you have someone who buys something in your shop, maybe a ticket, maybe a merch thing, and on the last step, you have someone who not only buys something, who as well gets into your contact list and wants to know more about you or more about what is happening. So it's a different interest level on that, and this is, I think, where you should, or everybody should think about is how should I address the people who are on the different funnel, and how do I get them in the next stage, and how much money do I spend on this stage. And for the newsletter example, we only use this on the bottom of funnel. Like the most engaged people get usually the newsletter, and they usually get something more than others get, like some informations earlier than others. Usually we build up newsletters that we at first always present something before we take something, because it's a total different approach. Like if you just go out there and want to sell something, the people know that, the people feel that. I mean, everybody knows this, how a newsletter works. There's only someone who tries to give you a percentage on something and just wants that you buy something. And go away from that. Just try to gift the people something. Not only gifting. Like, give them something they don't expect. Maybe YouTube footage of something. Like, just be creative. That's totally diverse, but it works because, and that's how I think differentiation starts today, where everything is going faster and faster and more. Just faster and faster. It's about in-depth quality. Go deeper. Ask yourself more questions and be go more into the brains of the people.
100%, but you need to be able as an artist to question yourself these questions you did. And there are many artists we see, they maybe slightly do this, but in the other hand they don't want to do it in the total consequence. So as I said, I love your act because they do, and you did great together. But there are also many artists who say, I'm an artist, I'm not an entrepreneur. And maybe that's another question. I say, as an artist, you need to be an entrepreneur for the beginning, of course, totally. You need to be an entrepreneur for your career. And in the next step, you can decide if you want to be longer an entrepreneur, and if you have a team, a marketing team or management team, label, stuff like that. But it's always good to be an entrepreneur because you always got to make decisions for your sustainable career. So,
and that's why I would say, whatever money you have, don't care. You need to be 1/5 musician, 4/5 marketing. Like that's the ratio I would go on with.
So we're in a room full of musicians right now. If we're in a position where you're talking to anyone in the room that's starting this, how would you say they should start thinking about their funnel? How would they start their marketing from ground zero?
Well, from the fan, of course. I mean, the first thing an artist should think about is the fan. Who is your fan? How would you describe your fan? What does he like? How does he dress? Where does he go? All these things. And then you start looking for them. And then you start looking for the places you can find them. And then you start sending your messages to those places. So it will reach those people. And plan. Never do things without a plan. Strategize. Go a long way. Think about where you want to be in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. It sounds very corporate, but it's useful and it's good. Going without a plan is like leaving home, not knowing where you want to go. You may end up in some nice place, but you may end up in a dead end. So plan. It's really important to plan and strategize. That's how I would start.
And that's interesting. If you say that it's 80% marketing, 20% content, 20% music, and then on top of that 80% content creation, you're at 180% of yourself. And this is, I think, where marketing comes in, where marketing becomes important, right? Not only to channel those 80% of content creation into something that is feasible for the band and that is targeted and that creates the data, as we heard, that you can actually pull from, but also to reduce both the 80% marketing and the 80% that you need to put in content creation, so that you get to a place where you can concentrate a little bit more maybe on the music, and you farm out the strategy for the content creation and the marketing, data analysis and all those kind of things. So, because if you do that half-heartedly, you don't do music half-heartedly, right? This is what you spend your time on, what you train on, what you do your finger exercises every day to become a proficient musician, to become a proficient entrepreneur, and to be a proficient content creator. That needs some guidance, and that's probably where you guys can help.
I would like to say really briefly why it's a lose-lose situation if an artist doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. First of all, you may have a team, a very good team that does really good things for you, but if you don't understand and if you don't follow their advice, then you lose money, and then they will leave to find other artists who understand what they are talking about. Or you have a team that does bad things for you and you don't understand what they are doing, and then you lose money again. So it's a lose-lose situation. You cannot be an artist in 2023 without knowing the business.
I mean, you need to take responsibility for your career, and that's why it's a big part of it. Like you have to deal with it. You have to at least understand how it works. You don't even have to proceed it, or you have maybe then a team who makes the things for you, but you have to understand it. You're part of this whole thing that is rolling, and so. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that's why it's a lose-lose situation.
Thank you. And on the other hand, we have so many opportunities that we didn't have ever before as a musician. So when I think back, starting my career 20 years ago, wow, a long time ago, we needed to have TV. And we needed to have print magazines and to get on there through all the gatekeepers. So that's the stuff you don't have to do again today, because the gatekeeper, of course, is the platform maybe and the algorithm. But you decide if you put up 20 TikTok videos a week or one. So it's up to you. I wouldn't follow the advice from TikTok. the official advice to go online 1 hour for a TikTok live stream. That is, I mean, very hard to do, and I don't think it's that promising, but that's what they said on Reeperbahn Festival. That's their best advice to raise as an artist on TikTok. Yeah, it was a panel. So I criticize that a lot, but yeah, you don't have these gatekeepers.
All right, so I'm sorry, we're 10 minutes before the end, and I want to give you the opportunity to again do a little bit of promotion for yourself, especially as YouTube may be listening to this. If everything works out fine, this is going to go on air. So just in 2 minutes, unfortunately you don't have any more. If an artist comes to you, what can they expect? And what should they expect from a good marketing agency such as yours? So, Innsite booking, somebody comes to you.
They get the truth, the real truth opinion on what we think about it. Like that's what we need to give them at the beginning. Like if it's something we don't see, we can't feel, it's not working out. I mean, I guess you know that story, I don't know. I'm from a small town close to Munich called Rosenheim. That's the town where the band Kafkiez comes from. And when they released their first song, and it became traction on Spotify, it became a bit more famous. A friend of mine who is a friend of the band asked me if I'm interested in managing the band or doing some. Them already. Oh, do you manage them already? I don't know that. Asking for the booking situation, and I told them I can't, because I don't know how to sell it. I can't. There was nothing I could say why someone should place the band, and that doesn't mean that they are. I mean, now they are famous for what they do, and they're absolutely, because they know how to do it, and that there's a fan base, and that's absolutely okay. But I'm not part of that. And so I wouldn't be the right one for them, and that's what they can expect when they come to us. That if we decide we want to do it, we do it 150%, and I usually say it works out.
Matt, same question to you. When they come to you, can they expect you to be raving about them already and say, "Come to me"?
Well, I think when you come to us, right, on our artist and label services side, the thing that we're going to give you is, once again, the truth, right? We're going to sit down and we're going to say, hey, this is what you do really well, here's what you don't do so well. And then we're going to give you the information to get there, right? We're going to help you in some ways, but we can't do it for you, right? We have a great team. We have people with, all the things that you'd expect from a distribution platform. We have playlisting, content creation, all that sort of thing. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be a lot of work on your side. And we're going to give you the tools to get there. We're going to give you the information. We're going to give you the handbook, so to speak. But what we can't do is we can't do it for you, right? And so we're going to help you create these funnels. We're going to help you create your release strategy. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to do it for you. And so, that's what you'll get from us, right? You'll get the tools. You'll get the best advice you possibly can. But we're not going to do it for you.
Unchained music. Easy to find on Instagram. Anca, how about you? What can people expect when they come to you?
Well, artists usually come to us if they want to play in our showcase festival, and we are training them. Actually, we are not only picking them and let them play in the showcase, but we are training them about how to work a showcase festival and a conference, how to approach people. We are helping them navigate through meeting everybody that's at the conference, how to use a database, how to make meetings with the people they are interested in knowing and collaborating with, and so on and so forth. So we are trying to help them make the best out of going to this conference, always.
Raw Music on Instagram, or where do we find you?
Well, Mastering the Music Business, basically. We have Facebook page and Instagram account, and you can find us on LinkedIn, and of course we have a website where you can subscribe to a newsletter.
Perfect. And we're going to link to that or I think I already did, on our Instagram post of this here panel, and where we'll also post a picture of all of us together here. Someone needs to take a picture of us right before we leave. How about...
what to add? Yeah, you should come to us when you have at least released some songs and experienced yourself maybe in the fields of marketing and social media. And if you say, hey, I'm not happy with that, I want to go another step, then we could be the right agency for you, because we can offer the do-it-for-you stuff, like content creation, concepting, and editorial, press, online, radio, PR work. And we also have like a consultation where we guide acts from the beginning through the next step of their careers to how to think as an entrepreneurial artist, how to get your finances straight, how to get your release planning straight, all that stuff. So the things we talked about, how to get there, because if you try to be an artist and do your homework and you think it's not working out, then you could probably work with us. And of course you should like what you see online and what we can offer and results and stuff like that.
What I forgot to add is that by the end of this month we will open the call for applications for artists wanting to participate to our showcase. Next year it's going to be 3 to 5 September.
All right, so subscribe to the newsletter. So thank you very much, everybody. Our time is up, but I think it was again one step ahead of what we discussed last time. So last time we said 1 to 3. Today we learned that marketing is not only being on TikTok and creating content, it's way more than that. It's getting your hands on your data, getting control over your data, and that a marketing agency can help you in that. But if they come to you and they say you're brilliant and we want to use you, they're probably just after your money. Instead, if they ask questions and they say we're not sure, that's probably the better sign of them doing the right thing. Thank you very much. Halbig, Superlifepromo. Thank you. Anca, Lupes from Raw Music. Matthew Waters, CEO Unchained Music. Und Basti Zeitz von Innsite Booking. Vielen Dank an Nürnberg.Pop, dass wir heute hier sein dürfen. Es geht weiter im Programm um 17.30 Uhr Your Hit, das Song Listening hier, dann ab 17 Uhr das Speed Dating, eine Etage tiefer, das ist nur auf Anmeldung. Um 18 Uhr sind wir euch nicht wichtig genug im ersten Stock. Da geht es auch darum, und dann um 18 Uhr ist die Ticketmaster Reception, deshalb sind die beiden schon abgehauen, gerade im Hotel Adina. Da braucht man allerdings auch eine Einladung für, die ich habe. Vorher geht's los mit Nürnberg.Pop ab 18 Uhr auf der Fritz Stage mit die Novak, die gerade schon live gespielt hat, während wir hier waren. Danke, dass ihr gekommen seid. Vielen, vielen Dank. Ich hoffe, es hat euch Spaß gemacht und viel Spaß noch bei Nürnberg.Pop, bei der Nürnberg.Pop Conference und vielen, vielen Dank. Bis zum nächsten Mal.